obviously sooner or later it hits you that you can't be it. You must be, you're looking from some other place or no place to see it, yeah? It's not like you're looking at the car from inside the car, because you wouldn't be able to describe the outside. You'd only see the chairs and the windows and maybe a reflection or something. But this is being outside the car, and then you're looking at the car. And so it's a much clearer description, and something that's always sooner or later gets triggered is you're not in the car. Yeah, you're not the car because you're seeing it. We hope, anyway. We've been doing this for years. We hope it triggers sooner or later. No, but it triggers and then it gets smothered again by the head, seemingly. It appears to be smothered. And then, so we just, if the habit of the blanket is to, just move right up to the pillows, we're just going to keep pulling the blanket down and then keep pulling the blanket down. And then sooner or later, when you see the movement of the blanket towards the pillows, you'll just see the blankets down. Yes, there'll be a recognition. No matter how many times you pull it up, it never really covers anything up. Yeah. So you see the emperor with no clothes, so to speak. And you recognize the machinations of seeking, I hope, again. Yeah. And it's not the seeking that's the dilemma, though it's going to probably diminish. It's the idea of being the seeker. Yeah. So when you see the seeking, it's almost as if a robot went overboard and it's trying to grab and got this and that, and you realize it can't do what it thought its job was. It can't get this message. It's beautiful. Yeah. It gets stymied every time it thinks it has it. It can't get it. It's like the coyote in the desert who comes upon a desert tortoise and wants to get some of that meat. And the tortoise just pulls in the legs and the head. The coyote stays maybe a minute or so, but it splits after a while. The human will probably stay for quite a long while, but the coyote gets it pretty quick that he's not going to get any meat. So it takes off. Well, this is the message in a way. You're not going to get anything and you're going to like it. Finally, because you've been getting something for so long. It's all totaling it all up, and it amassed itself into a big nothing. Now you're going to start with nothing and then lose interest in getting something. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, because you know already. This is not a new knowledge. Yeah, there's an activity in all of us of knowingly. Yeah. There's a knowing already. All that needs to do is trigger it. And you don't even have to hit it right on the nose. You can just vaguely throw around it and it gets it. Yeah. And then you start, instead of questioning from Paul, there's a questioning of Paul. And then you see Paul as an activity, really. It's Pauling or selfing. We like to use the term. We use sometimes the term of self because of recovery, but there is no self to be bound to. It's selfing. It's a mental activity. It's a pure verb that's going on. And what it implies and suggests and tries to keep pointing at isn't there. There is no long-lasting, independent, separate thing. There may be a thing that's being seen, but it's not a long-lasting, independent, separate thing. It's not a unique character. Yeah? And what happens? I don't know. Find out. Yeah? That's my suggestion. Just entertain what's heard. Entertain doesn't mean to think about. Entertain means the idea comes around, you let it in, and then see what happens. Yeah? You may want to point it. I want it to look in that closet, but just let's see what closet it goes to. And then more may be revealed. Yeah. So it was awesome. I haven't done anything really. If you call spirituality a path or with a bunch of activities with with a point of progressing and arriving somewhere, I've given up that ghost a long time ago. Yeah. So, and really, the greatest movement was a loss of interest, really, not a gaining of interest. I lost interest in self because it's not me. It's just that simple. We use the exact thing that gets us bound to the idea of self, which is it's about me. We use it in an opposite way, which it ain't about me. So you lose interest. Yeah. And what happens? What's that interest going to do after it migrates from that obsession with self? You'll find out. Yeah. And then maybe you'll be sitting here for the 27th year, sitting at a talk or giving one. And because that idea that was entertained has become the last answer in this life concerning this topic about being what you are or transcending or all this stuff. You've just you've come to the end of it, yeah, and you're just living now, just as we always been, and never getting gypped. You're here every second, asleep, awake, thinking you're not here, thinking you are here. It doesn't matter. There's no you as Paul unless there's here. Yeah. And so, yes. So non-duality, and this is just from coming from here, is simple. It's not Advaita. Advaita is more like a path or something. Non-duality is just not two. Yeah, it's simple. Non means not, duality means two. Now, you can study all you want about duality, but it's better to see it as an activity that you are made of. Yeah. To see that while you're sitting here, you're fluctuating from subject to object all day. Yeah. Sometimes you're the thinker, sometimes you're the thought about. It just goes on and on. Yeah. So this negation of that two-ness, this activity, is non-duality. Yeah. That's its movement. Its movement. You don't usually go to I'm going to practice non-Buddhism or I'm going to become a non-Catholic or a non-Muslim. No, it's usually an affirming, I'm going to go somewhere. But this is really pretty much the only message that has a negation as its base. Yeah. Why is that? Why is the true message of what's going on here is actually rooted in negation of an activity that we're calling Paul? Yeah. Because Paul, aka reality, Paul is what Paul is looking for, but not as Paul. Yeah. It's just that simple. So the seeker is the sought, not the sword. Someone thought I was saying sword for 8 years. The sought, S-O-U-G-H-T. Seeker is the sought, not seeker and the sought. Seeker is the sought. Yeah, compression of time and space, like that. There you go. Yeah. Didn't take a second to get there because you never left. Yeah, that's the message. So it really, time is not essential in this message at all. It's the essential, really, it's one of the planks of negation that may be essential. But time itself, this doesn't take time. Yeah. And you don't have to be in the right place. Yeah. It's here, right where you are, with no requirement necessary to meet it because you are it. Yeah. That's really that's the flesh of the message, really. And so obviously with that fact there, the only way to look at everything going on here is in a negation of all the assumed facts, all of the misunderstandings, all of the, let's say, mutated views, and just see what happens with it. And through satsang, maybe they'll get negated, yes? Not replaced, negated. Yeah. It's just like the old thing with understanding. Ramana used an old Indian thing where a guy's walking around and he got his foot's hurting and he's just trying to really ignore it and keep on going on. Finally, just stops, takes the shoe off, and sees there's a thorn in his foot. So he looks around where he's sitting and he sees another thorn. He takes that second thorn to pull out the first thorn. He doesn't replace the first thorn with the second thorn. He just uses the second thorn, which is in this example, non-dual understanding, to take out the first thorn, which is misunderstandings. Yeah. And what is a misunderstanding? A misunderstanding is any understanding held as the understood. As long as if there's an owning of the understanding and you're the understandee, that's the misunderstanding. It can be a beautiful understanding, but if it's held as someone, yeah, that's a misunderstanding. So this understanding just takes the miss out, yeah, and after a while, it may have looked at from where we were that understanding is essential, but when you see it from what we are, it's not. Yeah, that's the good news. Understanding is not essential. Yeah. It's necessary for a period of time, and then it can be jettisoned. And you really become sort of, in a weird way, childlike. Not childish, but childlike. Like if you stop me and ask me some profound thing, I have nothing to say. I'm out to lunch in a really nice way, just hanging out. The only time I explore this stuff is at these talks, really. Because what I thought was essential isn't. It's not essential for an understanding. It's like getting an invitation. The invitation may be essential to inform you that there's a party at 8, but when you arrive at the party at 8, there's no need for the invitation, is there? It's done its job. It directed you to the party that was at 8 o'clock. So, yeah. And that space that understanding may take up could be really nice and empty, yeah? So anything can come through. You don't want to have a big block of misunderstanding there. So this is really, it's about being empty and then getting emptied. Yeah. Really. You get emptied of a lot of understanding and reliance on intellect and everything else. Yeah. You basically, well, I'd love you to find out. It's more important. I never really, though I can see why someone would want to describe the indescribable, but it is indescribable. It doesn't mean it can't be sensed. It can be very, very clearly, but it can't be described. It can't be understood. It can't be had. Yeah. But it can definitely, like if there's a generator, like in the room, we have heating. So the heating comes on. And if you're busy, you don't really hear it. But if you're laying there, you can hear it kick on, and then it's on for 10 minutes, comes out from the floor, and then it stops. And then there's a nice pause, and then it kicks in again. What would happen if all there was that heater on? That would be the reality, so to speak. So this is like the generating of a sense of the I am, yeah? The onness that we are. So the onness hums almost like a generator. It's on, but there's no point. You can't know it by its absence because it's never absent. Yeah. So you can't wait. Oh, I'll know that was a generator when it gets silent. It's that. You're not gonna, that's that. Yeah. There's no opposite of it. It's just on. And that sense really is the basis, because the mental state doesn't have a basis. It steals the basis of I am, and then it crowns it with the story I am Paul. And then we get seemingly the interested attention gets caught up in the Paul story. All the while, the authentication of Paul every step of the way is really of the I am. So the sense of Paul is like a costumed I am. So there's no need to look for I am. You are I am. What's needed to be looked at maybe is, are you Paul looking for I am? Because if you are, you're using I am to look for I am. Yeah? It's beautiful, really. And if you catch yourself once in this little conundrum, you're going to see it a lot. You're going to recognize most of your time you've been trying to get out of something you were not in, or trying to get into something you've not been out of. It's incredible. It really is. We can live a bizarro world right out of the DC comics completely. Yeah, we could be looking for the truth while all the while being the truth. We can. And we could get medals for it. We could get, different color belts for it. We could get a lot of, bravo, bravo from the spiritual peanut gallery. Yeah, but in fact, we're using what we are to look for what we are. Produces a seeming effect of being blind to what you are. The more you use what you are to look for it, the more blind you are to it. Yeah. This is the dilemma. This is the twist we can't get out of as this idea of Paul. Yeah. So yeah, any questions? Pick a topic, any topic. We could just riff on it. It's a library up there. We've accessed it. Just anything. Something will pop in. Yeah. I can feel it. It's sort of like it's like an open hand, open source library. At first you got to open the door maybe with a question, but now it's open. So reach in there and get yourself a big hunk.
Paul, Aaron has a question. Come on in, Aaron.
Hey, Paul.
Hey.
Hey. So I've been on this journey listening to you for a little while. I'm with my partner here, Tobias. And as I am experiencing seeing what I'm not more often, I'm seeing the character of Aaron having these identifications with what I would want to be in the future. So in the past, before recovery, there was this idea of needing to prove some integrity. And then through recovery and during, naming values and principles to reinforce this integrity or just intention. And the more that I'm seeing what I'm not, the selfing happening, I'm wondering what the role or the use could be of principles, values, because I have a sense that if I am the one, if I'm thinking I'm the one who needs to be grateful or the one who needs to be honest, then there's this reinforcing of the identification as self. So I don't know if that if you
yes
can hear.
And no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes and no with that. Yeah. Some of that is just giving unto Caesar's what Caesar's. Yes. So the action figure, if it doesn't have a certain sense of, let's say, connectiveness or belonging or maybe purpose, it doesn't run well in a lot of ways. Yes.
Yeah.
So the idea of being principled isn't for what you are, it's for the appearance of what you're not. Because the appearance isn't you doesn't mean it doesn't have an agenda and effects and stuff like that. It's more the star of the experiential realm than the absolute, that's for sure. So, yes. So, and obviously, when you feel like you didn't have integrity, it's a dualistic way of giving yourself a break by having integrity. Like in AA, we don't think ourselves into right action. We do ourselves into right thinking. Yes?
Yes.
Doesn't mean that's what stays, but in the beginning, and yeah? So this idea of what works for the action figure for it to be a happy cow, so to speak. Yes? A little free range, some grains, petting here and there, time with other cows, giving a purpose other than the trough, yeah. And then it becomes less of it's pulsing of and pulling in with its gravity, attention and interest weakens, and so the interest and attention can now go wherever it wants to go, because this thing isn't pulsating and pulling everything in. It's chilled out, yeah, like a free range alcoholic, yeah. So it doesn't have to be punished, or it knows how to get to the trough and do this and do that. Yeah.
I have a question. Do you mean interest and attention as in interest in the self that wants to be blank?
Yes,
playful?
but there is an interest and attention of the well-being of the vehicle, which is healthy. There's not this inordinate amount of interest and attention on the idea of being the vehicle.
Yes.
Yes. So, and you find your own balance. It's not all of this, none of that. It's a balance after a while. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been lucky to this point with the action figure that I can sense certain things that may be going awry, and I can do something and have it get back into a different groove, like a healthier groove. I've lost you guys. I don't know where you went. Aaron, yes? So I haven't had to rely on pills or going to hospitals and shit like that. Just do it, and there's a quality of life. And then basically, there's not much maintenance, or it's not demanding attention all day, which allows a lot of freedom. So my head, the attention and interest can go other places. If you're not happy, but you think you're an absolutist in non-duality, but the action figure ain't happy, it's not going to be fun. Yeah. That big stick up your ass is going to hurt. Yeah. And you're going to be thinking, I'm nothing, but it doesn't work. Yeah. So you find, like Jesus said, supposedly, you're in this world, but you're not of it. It doesn't mean complete negation, like meaning it all sucks, so I don't have to pay any attention. No, as he said, when render unto Caesar Caesar's. Yeah. So in this world, the world has some demands. You better play with that. Yeah. But then it hits a ceiling, and it's enough. And now, your mind is not occupied with all the demands or needs to keep progressing, or whatever you want to call it. And enough becomes the new basis. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's say if you get very ill, maybe you'll have to do something, but it's working. And therefore you don't have to, it's like having a Toyota or a Honda instead of like a Mini Cooper. Mini Coopers are going to go into the garage probably a lot and shit like that. Toyotas and Hondas are reliable. Yeah. Yeah. So you just, you get in, it takes you don't have much thought. It always takes you where you're going. And it's a surprise when it breaks down. Not something that lingers and you're it's taking up some space. Well, this is what like a happy cow or a happy action figure it is. Yeah. So I hope they got something across, because this is the living of it. So it's not like an either or you can only, you have to
Yeah.
attempt to communicate a vagueness of movement and change with not like a chiropractic adjustment, just things find their own spot. Yes. You don't have to crush them into the position, they fall into a position. Yeah. But
Thank you.
obviously the dualistic head, when there was a real belief you were bad, there's probably going to be a drive or a need to be good, because there's got to be some convincing. Yeah. Just like you got convinced that you were bad, now you need to be convinced that you're good for you to get a break from your head. It's like you got to tie that fucking God up there, or it's going to make it a uncomfortable little ride. Now, when I went into recovery, in hindsight, I was under probation for like 4 years. I didn't trust me as far as I could throw me. So everything was just promoting a lot of self-obsession, my getting better. Yeah.
Mhm.
Because the selfing was there. So there's no balance in selfing. Yeah. It's when there's a loss of interest in the selfing, the body and this action figure can find a balance that works. And you'll be surprised how easy it clicks into enough. Yeah. 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 Where when the head was thriving, nothing was fucking enough. Yeah. Yeah. So I hope that got something through.
Thank you
It's
so much.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's the beautiful thing about principles. If you learn them, they override circumstances and situations. Yeah. They become a basis. And a basis is something that you're not really noticing. You're usually noticing what's going on top of it. But the basis is a new basis that's working. Yeah. 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 Your head isn't constantly wedded to what's going on with Paul. You're available and you're present for what's actually going on.
Yeah, can I say something about that?
Yeah,
Um,
sure.
so Tobias and I will share values sometimes in the morning, and we start with saying, I would like to be aware of, say, gratitude today. I value gratitude and color. And later in the day, I'll notice there's gratitude, but there wasn't a generating of it. There wasn't a generating of the appreciation of color. It's just happening. And
Yeah,
by stating it earlier in the day, it's not like I'm creating it later. It's just noticing it being present already. So, yeah.
because it's almost as if you have a self-driving car, but you're not letting go of the wheel. And then you start getting more assured to let go of the wheel. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
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 So prayer, most of the prayers I was doing was there was great faith in something was going to fuck up. Now, over the years, that great faith has gone somewhere else. And so when I find myself in situations, it's funny, I don't usually pray at all. Even if, like with the COVID, I didn't pray for it to be, it was just more, hey, this is what's happening. you know, there you go. I know I'm in good hands and just go with it. Yeah. Yeah. So, uh, how we dance with all this stuff changes. Yeah. 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 Maybe you need you learn like a 5-step routine, but there's always going to end up improvisational. Yeah, always. In my experience, it always leads to improvisation in a sense. because all your ideas of formalizing shit really wasn't doing anything. It's just a way of like tithing to the fucking, agitated big dog up there. Yeah. 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 What you are doesn't need any convincing. It doesn't. Being convinced is always about what we're not, really. And what you're convinced of is I'm not that. What you are is completely, thoroughly drenched, convinced of what it is. It has there's no doubt in it of it. Yeah, I would imagine. It doesn't seem that way. Yeah, it's so. What needs to be convinced. Yeah. So, non-duality has brought this action figure to a lot of dead ends. Even though its GPS said keep going straight, your destination is 5 miles. You realized, hey, it's a dead end. You just turned off the GPS. The maps have gotten a lot smaller. Really. I always was surprised. We were in Massachusetts one night doing something up there to do a talk in a town called Lincoln, Massachusetts, I think. We got up there late from wherever we were, New York, and it was pretty rural. And then we came upon a railroad crossing, and there was a commotion going on. And they brought all these lights, and the cops were there. So we pulled up to a stop sign, rolled the window. We go, what happened? And they said, oh, a lady was following a GPS, and she turned on the railroad tracks. And having so much faith in the GPS, hearing the kum, 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 she just kept driving about 20 yards up the tracks. Now they had to get this huge thing to pull her out. So there you go. There's faith. Yeah. So knowing that we are of faith, wouldn't you love to have it have that faith directed by something worthy of that role? And hasn't the mental state revealed to you that it's a failed system? And are you convinced of that it's a failed system? If you are, your faith has now been put into better hands, yes? And now that faith is enriching your day instead of enslaving it to yesterday and tomorrow. Yeah? This is what we get convinced of. You don't have to be in AA to get convinced of that, but we are in AA, some of us, and that's how we become convinced. We hear about the futility of a life run on self-will, and it matches our experience. Yeah? And then something fucking clicks. And something that was constantly agitating and irritable and restless and discontent stops. It rolls without any more gas given it, and it stops. Yeah? And in that pause, things you never see while it's constantly seeking, you see. Yeah? So, yeah. You're in great hands. This is what happens. Yeah. Life doesn't mind you holding on to the wheel. It knows who's driving. It knows who's driving. You can play like a little, it's like that. There was a thing in Disneyland where you'd go there and you're going to go through this adventure through the jungles and waterways. Yeah. And you should have been a little suspicious when you got on the boat because there was like 10 steering wheels. So everyone gets on a steering wheel and then you make a left and you believe you're making the left and you run into a hippopotamus. And then everyone, and then they're like this, but it's all generated by a computer, but you believe you're running the show. This is basically, that ride only lasts for an hour. This is 70 years, but it's still a ride. Length doesn't matter. So, but in this case, this is the ride. This, yeah. We're not on a ride. This is the ride. We want to believe that we can get on and off every ride, but this is the ride. So, yeah. All right. Thank you, honey. Yeah.
Thank you. We have Steve has the question. Come on in, Steve.
Hi, thanks. It's
How
really,
did I know? Yep.
it's been like a lot of serendipitousness happening. So I've been working with a teacher for several years now, and I went and saw another teacher last weekend, and one of the things that I realized wasn't true. And what was happening was
I didn't hear that last part. One of the things I realized is that I lost you.
it wasn't true.
It wasn't true.
Yeah. And so what happened was I'd had a realization that no thought, no physical sensation, no perception tells me anything about what I am. So then it goes to, well, what am I? And immediately I didn't realize that there was a layer of selfing going on. And it's been going on for 5 years, trying to find out what I am, thinking there's an I am. And this other teacher pointed out that I fell into that trap. And so it's like what you were talking about, non-duality. It's like there's, for lack of a better word, it's being careful not to become a Steve again, you know?
Well, the thing is but that which says it became a Steve isn't Steve either. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So you can't become Steve again.
It's just another belief.
It's just an activity that says you are. It says you were or you're going to be again. It's not true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you didn't fall back into Steve. It's just there was interest and attention that went with that little tributary. Of course, it always drives up, and then when you come to, you've never left the ocean. Yeah. So.
Yeah. It's just I've heard it called playing the game of Steve. Playing that game.
So, yeah. So there.
And,
but yes, so Steve is not in non-duality, and Steve is not out of whatever. It's just Steve is just a movement of the head. Yeah.
Yeah.
That infers and implies it's you moving, and it does, and it isn't. It's the head moving. Yeah.
I think I just had a glimpse of when people talk about no thing, that there's been a little bit of thinging going on, and the mind's been grabbing onto that. It's just an awareness that that's been going on.
That's great, bro. That's good. I'm happy. Yeah, more will get revealed. Don't worry.
Yeah, and then
yeah.
And it's funny about like when I get sick, my worries tend to go away. If that makes any sense. It's like I'll walk around anxious all day, and oh gee, I've had this little head cold and a cough going on, and my boss said, "Why don't you test yourself for COVID?" So I come home, test myself, and yep, I'm positive. And immediately I relaxed. I don't know if it's like, okay, what, no point in being anxious about work, no point being anxious. I've got this body to take care of. That's what I'm going to do, and it's really funny that way. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it does have, it's nice, it has priorities.
Yeah.
It'll be in the miscellaneous area fucking around, but then if something rings the bell, it pays attention. Yeah.
And it's really funny. I can't even think how I caught it because I spend most of my time not with people, and
well, you don't know. I would test it again and see.
I'm gonna
those home tests may not be as valid at times, but yeah, I think testing a couple of times may be good.
I've got about 5 tests here. I could just test again tomorrow.
Yeah. That's what I think. That's why they put them out there.
Yeah.
You get a number of tests because they know they're not completely what you call it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good. I hope. Well, whatever it is, it ain't you anyway. So yeah.
Wow. That's just
we made it through. We had a retreat, the first retreat in the realm of Paul Hedderman for years, and we're always telling people they're going to get nothing. Well, this time they came to the retreat, they got something, which was COVID. Half the people came down with COVID the last day, just when it ended. It was great timing.
I was on a 2-week retreat last Thanksgiving week, and a couple people caught it, and it's like we had to change all our protocols for the retreat.
Yeah.
Like, everybody wear masks. You couldn't, indoors. You had to have a mask. You had to test yourself every
Wow.
day.
Yeah.
And the people.
That's see, a lot of times retreats rely on being hermetically sealed from the outside. It doesn't work that well when the outside steps in.
Yeah, our retreat wasn't hermetically sealed. It's just the way it's designed. And so it's pretty funny. It's just like somebody show up, oh crap. And then it's like, well. So it was very interesting. For 2 weeks, we were all distanced.
It's really funny.
So nothing was playing the game of a bunch of people being masked and distant and having all kinds of reactions with each other.
It's funny that we talk about retreats, but let's say if the head heard it had COVID, that would be the object of its meditation. You're sitting on a cushion for 12 hours trying to follow your breath or whatever. Your mental state's a fucking absolute master on obsessing over one ideation. It would be there going back to that all fucking day. And as a spiritual seeker, all you could wish for that same devotion to the breath. But no, it's to the idea of something. Yes.
Yeah. And
the retreats are trying to combat a retreat you're already on.
Yeah. The people who caught it, they probably had a lot of that because they couldn't come. They had to stay home for a week and a half until they got better. It's like,
see, the funny thing is when people say their mind can't focus, no, it focuses great. It just doesn't listen to you when you ask it to focus on something. It's, people are up at 3 a.m. They're laser focused on what's not happening. Their head is having a field day. So this whole idea, we see there's retreats, but retreats are from another retreat. We're trying to retreat from the other retreat, which is the mental state. The mental state's been in its cave longer than Ramana Maharshi was in his cave. The mental state is a yogi master. It's been sitting on shit that's never going to happen and entertaining as if it was so for years. See, you wouldn't want to go to a temple unless you were at another temple to begin with. Yeah. So you go to another temple because you've been in the temple of the head, seemingly.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
See, that's why it's a dread. See, I was on a retreat once. This was very interesting, cool. If you don't mind, riff on this. I was on a retreat in America, Northern California. There's a place called Spirit Rock. We used to call it the upper middle way, very high end. Eagle claw bathtubs. The room I had was better than the room I have in the house I lived. So we were there, and people were on different lengths. You could be there for 3 months or a week or whatever. I think I was there for 2 weeks, whatever. And so it was a typical thing. You met someone in the morning, some teacher, and then you'd meditate and then walking meditation, like 12 hours a day, 13 hours. And then around 6 o'clock, they'd have this bell, and that would be dinner. And you'd have 3 meals a day. And everyone would be roaming around, like walking on these hills and stuff. They hear the bell. It would be like all these cows coming to the trough. And then one day I was there. I was close to where the mess hall was. So I got in there first. So I walk in, and in the front of the buffet thing was ice cream. Yeah. So I said, oh. So I sat down and I watched all these yogis walking in. They got the loving gaze. They're very peaceful. As soon as they're eyes fell upon the ice cream, the wheels went going. The 12 days of retreat was gone, and like one vision, one darshan with ice cream put the real master in place. So you could see their eyes going. Some went right to the ice cream, got a bowl, brought it back to their table, then went to get some food. There was all these strategies. I was watching it all. It was hilarious, man.
Sounds like something I would do.
So these retreats are trying to counter a retreat you're already on. You're not on, but the head is. The head obsesses over fucking shit that would surpass the greatest fucking meditation person in the world.
Yeah.
Any Tom, Dick, and Harry, their head can obsess over a fucking idea better than these people gazing at walls for 14 hours for a month.
I've done that. I've done that. The retreats I go on, thankfully, are not like that.
It's insane. It's crazy. So the same medicine, the head retreat, and then the retreat has the same illness, which is the one who's on the retreat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you can bring non-duality wherever you want to go or end up, because all the times I sat and meditated, I never got a clear idea I'm not that. I had to hear it through a satsang.
That's why, on the retreats I've been going to, they don't do much meditation. There's a
Yeah.
lot of dialogue, and then it's basically like when you're socializing.
Yeah, I know. That's what a lot of people I know who go on a lot of retreats, that's where they meet their friends and stuff. That's great.
And what's cool for me is like if I go on a rant, so one of the friends in the retreat will go, you're playing the game of Steve. So it's like semi-real life. They're calling me on my shit, and it's really cool. It's like everybody's my sponsor, and so it's pretty cool that way. But
I'm going to tell Amelia when she calls me on my shit that we're on a retreat together.
There you go.
Because she does a pretty good job of that.
Yeah.
I'll have to thank her.
I got a buddy like that.
All right. Well, I don't want to riff more on it, but
okay. Yeah.
The underlying thing is who the hell's on the retreat. That would be very helpful.
Yes.
Doesn't mean go or no go retreats. I don't care. But at least use whatever's going on to see, is there anyone there? I mean, literally. Yeah.
That's the whole point of it. Yeah. Is there anyone there?
Like our friend that used to come here, he still does at times. For him to realize he didn't have to go on a retreat, he had to go on a retreat. He went to it and realized, hey, I don't have to be here. So it was worth every penny to get that.
Yeah,
he doesn't have to be there.
I'm pretty ADD and I isolate a lot, so I use the retreats to actually.
Yeah, you meet people. I know. It's just like we're all crippled and feeling unconnected, so we have to pay for it in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Fine, going on like whatever works. Yeah.
Whatever it takes to do the work.
No, whatever works. I don't like the work.
Okay,
works.
Makes more sense. Whatever works, yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
And good luck with whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
Michael, anybody
All right,
else?
we have one more question. Yeah, we have Chris. Come on in, Chris.
We never have just one more question usually.
I'm sorry.
All right, let's go, Chris.
All right, look, first of all, Lincoln, Massachusetts is the town right next to me, and I think I know that lady who drove on the railroad tracks. It's the town right over there. Secondly, like I drive a Mini Cooper, so and this is an exact replica of it, and I've had the thing since 2004, and it's been great.
Oh, great. I just use it as an example.
But that's because I don't go anywhere, so it's got like no mileage. Anyway, your story reminded me of something. When I was a little kid, my parents took me to an amusement park, and they have like a physical car that you get in, and it goes around on this track, but I didn't know it was on a track. So there's like a thing under the car holding it.
Yes.
I was so terrified steering the thing. If I veer off the thing, and my parents videoed it, and it's like, they think it's hysterical. I'm like, think I'm going to crash the thing. And
That's good. You should watch that. That's better than a retreat, I think. Watch that little snippet and see, and now maybe picture yourself as Chris right this moment, but with the understanding it's on a giant rail.
exactly.
So you could get more amused about your antics than taking them seriously.
Yeah, your whole CNN turning into Comedy Central is, you know.
Yes, exactly. That's what happens. You're like this, and then finally, and then
All right.
It's a liberation. It is.
Yeah. Thanks again for these talks, Paul.
Oh, you're welcome, Chris. Yeah, it's a pleasure to see you. And
You too.
that's a lovely country up there near Walden's Pond. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep. It's beautiful.
The
Yeah.
lady I went to, she had a renovated barn. That may not be so unusual there. Very beautiful.
Yeah, we have a lot of those.
Yeah. Very nice.
Yeah.
All right. Anyone else, Mike?
Nope, that's it.
That's it. Let's see what. I can say goodbye then, eh? Yeah.
Sounds
Michael, I'll never say goodbye to Michael because I keep seeing him, which is great. Very nice. Yeah.
great.
It would be sad if I had to say goodbye to you, really. So it's nice. We got Bill Churchman. We got Kathleen. Now she's muted, confused, and happy. Not bad. We got Michael Sherman. Steward. Nice to see you, Steward. We got Deborah's cooking something there, I think. Yeah. Chris, thank you, Chris. Steve, thank you. I hope you feel all right. Yeah. We've got Kim, JF. Nice to see you, Kim. Yeah. Erin and Tobias. You're looking cozy there. That's nice. Let's see. We've got Richie W. from Mexico. Nice to see you, Richie. Is this your first time with us?
Yeah, first time. Just like it took me 3 weeks to get my head around on duality from your other AA talk. So, hi, I'm here. I arrived. Well,
great. I'm going to be in Mexico. We're going to go to Mexico in February.
Great.
At Guadalajara, at that Lake Chabala or something. Yeah.
On a retreat?
What? No. Just a couple of days of talks, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there going to be ice cream?
Pop up.
There'll be ice cream right on the first day, so it'll just be constant distraction and being okay with it. Don't you think you're on a retreat already? Life is intense enough, so whatever. Kelly, Zoe, there she is. Yeah. We were talking to my friend who used to manage this island that this teacher used to live on, Adida, Bubba Freejohn, and stuff. And one time, I went up there to see him when he was alive, and they had the performance down. So you'd be sitting for quite a while, then you'd hear a conch shell, and then over the hill, these two women with black, like ninja, like pajama look, which would be Zoe and Kelly in this thing. And then what is that thing when they carry someone? I don't know. And he would be in this thing with four men carrying him and with the conch shell. God, it was incredible. It was great art, man. It was great performing art. And so if we were having that, Zoe and Kelly would be there. And then Mia would be walking behind, sending me care packages with exotic Greek candies and fucking shit like that. It's great. So so I hope I see you again, Richie. Yeah. All right, Kelly, Zoe, we got Rick H. Very nice. I have the pleasure of meeting Rich. Very nice guy. Yes. We got Annette. We got Andy W. He's getting sucked into the black hole. We got Esteban M. Nice to see Esteban. We got Dave B. Susan K. The latte lady, which I've had one today. Bruce, Tommy. I think that's it. No, let's see. Lucas. I think that's it. So, hey, thank you so much for putting up with all the shenanigans. We'll hopefully be back. Go to Zen Bit Slap events. All the talks are there. And yeah, thank you. Nice to meet you, Kim, and I'll see everybody soon. Thanks. Thanks,
Bye,
guys.
everyone.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.